Former US President Donald Trump was indicted for his wide-ranging attempts to overturn the 2020 election. Now this, as we just told you, is the third time in 4 months that the former US president has been criminally charged. Here's a look at the indictment and the legal woes of Donald Trump going forward. Now, it is the third criminal indictment of the 77-year-old Trump, and this happened since March. The indictment charges him with 3 counts of conspiracy and 1 count of obstruction. The new charges raise the prospect of Trump, frontrunner for the 2024 Republican nomination, being embroiled in more legal proceedings. The 2024 presidential campaign is expected to be bitter and divisive, and we're already seeing seeds of that as we're reaching closer to the 2024 presidential race. The indictment accuses Trump of conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. The January 6, 2021 joint session of Congress held to certify Joe Biden's election victory. Now, Trump is also accused of seeking to disenfranchise American voters with his false claims that he won the November 2020 presidential election. Special Counsel Jack Smith, now this is a name you will be hearing a lot of, a former war crimes prosecutor at The Hague, said the Capitol attack was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. Now this was a major deal. And of course, we're still talking about it leading into the next presidential race. Trump lashed out at Smith, which was expected, calling him deranged and accusing him of issuing yet another fake indictment to interfere with the presidential election. As we all know, Donald Trump, the kind of personality he is, he always has a retort. Now, the former president says he will run for president from jail if convicted on any of his various indictments. Now, he is not going to stop, even if he's put behind bars. The White House maintained silence on the indictment of Trump. Biden, who is seeking re-election next year, continued his beach vacation in Delaware and went to dinner with First Lady Jill Biden before going to watch Oppenheimer. So clearly there's no reaction which is coming in from the opposite camp, which is of course in power at the moment, if you look at it from Trump's side. Now, amid the firestorm of political investigations, where do things stand for Trump? That's the question. Now we're going to seek to answer that. The former US president is facing 3 criminal indictments, all filed since March. The Republican frontrunner in the 2024 White House race could end up navigating a series of trials as he campaigns. Now, Trump has already been indicted over his handling, or rather the mishandling, of top secret classified documents, which were of course found at his Mar-a-Lago mansion, making him the first former US president to face federal criminal charges. He is scheduled to go on trial in Florida in May of next year. Now, the twice impeached Trump has also been charged in New York with making election eve hush money payments to a porn star. Now, of course, Stormy Daniels is who we're talking about, a name which will keep echoing till the time the presidential election race is not over in 2024. Trump is being investigated in the southern state of Georgia for pressuring officials there to overturn Biden's 2020 election bid as well. Evidence includes a taped phone call in which he asked Georgia's then Secretary of State to find enough votes to reverse the result. Now, Trump was found liable recently as well in a civil case for sexually abusing and defaming a former magazine columnist, Jean Carroll, in 1996. So as you can see, there are cases which are propping up from different decades, all against Trump. Now, in New York, the state attorney general has filed a civil suit against Trump as well. It accuses the former president and 3 of his children of fraud by overvaluing assets to secure loans and then undervaluing them to minimize taxes. Now, Trump has denied all wrongdoing, which one would expect coming from Trump. Now, earlier we spoke to our correspondent Susan Tehrani, who brings us the latest on Trump's third indictment and how it's different from the previous 2. Listen into this.
This particular indictment touches people in the former president's orbit in a way that the previous 2 indictments have not. Jack Smith listed at least 6 unidentified co-conspirators who allegedly helped the former president try to overturn the elections. It's very likely that Donald Trump may ultimately face criminal charges in the heat of the 2024 elections. After all, the Manhattan case is due to be in court in March. And then you have the Mar-a-Lago documents case in May.
And with that, Susan also explains what challenge the DOJ now stands to face in bringing this case to court. Listen in.
First of all, there's that question, why did they wait 2.5 years to bring this case forward against the former president, notably at a time when he's very likely to become the Republican frontrunner and nominee in the general elections? And then there's the question, what if the former president truly believed that these elections were stolen? After all, remember, counsel was advising him. Some were saying that it wasn't, but there were lawyers that were telling him that the elections were indeed stolen. So proving that is going to be a very difficult task. Ultimately, the lawyers will have to focus on that time and that place where counsel really did tell the former president that the elections were ultimately stolen. Also, a lot of experts are saying that this is unprecedented and it's a dangerous case because ultimately it aims to criminalize disinformation, something that has not been done before, while also criminalizing political differences.